Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Can you just tell us what's your relationship with Turkey like these days?
There's no relationship whatsoever. There's no communication. We've reached out to their team left and right because we have contracts in place. There's zero communication. So look, the bottom line is that Turkey picked Dana White to run boxing in the U.S. That's his guy. So guess what? To Eddie Hearn, to myself, to Bob Arum, to PBC, that's a huge slap in our face. Imagine that. I would have been better off having Eddie Hearn or having PBC or Top Rank, be the lead guy here in the U.S. for Turkey, but he picks Dana White. Come on.
There is a very good reason that Turkey may have elected to use an outsider from outside of the boxing industry than somebody within it after seeing the job that the American promoters have been doing by their broadcasters, the PBC getting booted off both Fox and Showtime, Top Rank losing the ESPN deal. Which one of those promotional outfits was supposed to be the point man for Turki Alalshikh to spearhead the effort to grow boxing in America when they couldn't do it on their own? Which one of them was he supposed to go with? Or was he supposed to go with Asuka, who every flagship fighter he's had in the last decade has tried to leave him? From Canelo to Virgil Ortiz to Ryan Garcia. Asuka likes to play dumb a lot. It's either he's playing dumb or he is dumb. He doesn't seem to factor any of this into the equation. Why would Turkey bring Dana White into the frame? Why would he have gone with an outsider to be his point man? You don't think your track record has anything to do with that? Remember? Or what you said about Turkey, because we all know who you were talking about when Turkey first emerges in the boxing space and Oscar says he's not going to let some outsider come into his territory and take over. Remember that? You think Turkey didn't know who you were talking about so that you could end up doing a show with him? Remember Latino Night? The show headlined by Zurdo Ramirez's unification match with Chris Billum-Smith that Turki Alalshikh paid for? Remember that? Remember that you're the one who sold him Ring Magazine for $10 million, so it's not like there wasn't an open channel of communications between you to do business to where if there isn't one now, it's gotta be because you fucked that up. That's your fault. Say that there's no communication between you, but weren't you communicating with him when you signed over Ryan for 2 fights?
Can you clear this up for us? Because he spoke on it, but I want your side as well. My understanding is before that Times Square card, Ryan signed a 2-fight deal with the Saudis. And so this is fight 2 of that deal. And that is why he's allowed to do it outside of the Golden Boys umbrella, so to speak. Like, this doesn't count as a Golden Boy fight. And that's why you're not on the dais. That's what I was told. I want to get your side of that. Some clarity from you. Is that accurate?
We're part of everything. We are part. We're carved out and carved. We're part of everything. That's the bottom line.
Okay.
Look. There's no way a network is going to pay the monies that Ryan Garcia is asking for. There's no way. So Turkey came in and bought the event. That's the bottom line. But we are part of it.
Should there be a Golden Boy logo on the poster and all that stuff? And will there be? Because we have seen variations of it that doesn't include the Golden Boy logo.
Absolutely, 1,000%.
Okay, and that will be the case come fight week?
Absolutely, 1,000,000%.
How many fights left does he have with you? He said one more after this. Is that accurate based on your understanding of the contract?
Yeah, based on my understanding of the contract, that's what the contract reads. And but we'll see.
Okay, meaning...
You know how things change every single day.
It feels like there's been one more for like 5 years between you and him.
Look, we've positioned Ryan Garcia over the years as his promoter to be where he's at. You know, with his hard work, his skill, he gets there, he gets the job done. But we've always had this rocky relationship, just like a family. You have fights, your family one day, you have fights the other day. We're just like a big old dysfunctional family, but I'm okay with it as long as we get the job done.
So you have confirmation there from the horse's mouth that Ryan Garcia was telling the truth. He's only got 1 fight left on his existing Golden Boy Promotions deal. The fight that he's about to have, it doesn't count towards that contract, but the one after that does. 1 fight and he's scot-free. 1 fight. Rick Glacier would have had you believe that Ryan Garcia would be stuck over there for the foreseeable future based on his inside knowledge. It all turned out to be bullshit. I think that Golden Boy Promotions could find themselves in a very bad way if they lose another flagship fighter in Ryan Garcia. After losing Canelo, they never really recovered from that. If they then lose Ryan, Virgil Ortiz, good fighter that he might be, is not a big marquee attraction. Nowhere near as popular as Brian Garcia. He doesn't have the chops to put the promotion on his back and carry it.
See Oscar smiling through the pain, smiling through his teeth, as if that's any cause for celebration.
You ain't got nothing to be cheesing about, Oscar. And you wonder why Turki Alalshikh went with Dana White instead of you to be his point man. By my count, that is the second time that Oscar De La Hoya would have been passed over to be the point man in America. Initially, it was DAZN that chose Eddie Hearn over Oscar to oversee things in the United States. Now Turki has done the same thing.
Communicates the same message, that Oscar's all over the place, too wishy-washy and too dysfunctional to take the lead, to spearhead the effort to grow boxing in the United States. You're not the man for the job, and you should be ashamed of yourself that they thought a British Brit could do a better job in America than you.
Turki thinks a UFC guy can do a better job in boxing than you can. That is a slap in the face.
Wow.
So what do Eddie Hearn and Dana White have in common? That they both run soluble promotions that are in the black.
That actually turn over a profit.
So it's not hard to understand why those decisions were made. And the bottom line is that Oscar would present as a very unserious person to a Turki Alalshikh. He presents as an unserious person to me and you. We're just used to it.
Oscar in his own mind probably thinks he comes off as kooky but charming.
And there's nothing charming about it consistently. What they're communicating to you is they think other people can do a better job in your neck of the woods than you can on your own home turf.
He assured that the Golden Boy insignia would be on the next line of posters for the upcoming Garcia versus Ben fight, if that's any consolation.
Whoop-de-fucking-do.
Oscar, I wanted to ask you about something that was said on my show on Wednesday. We had Canelo Alvarez in studio, and I asked him about the likes of Ryan Garcia and the likes of David Benavidez, about sort of taking that baton as the next face of Mexican boxing. And he was quick to tell me, like, they're Mexican-American. There's a difference. The Mexican public doesn't necessarily, like, get attracted to those guys because they're not technically one of their own. Is that a fair thing in your opinion? You've been in this position before. Is that fair or is that unfair to those guys?
No, it's unfair to those guys. I mean, look at what I did. And I wasn't born in Mexico. I was of Mexican descent, just like Ryan Garcia. But it's not, it wasn't fair to say, because if you're a great fighter inside the ring and you have respect towards Mexico and the fighting style and the fighters, and you're all about that, and born here in the US, you're going to capture both markets. You're going to capture the hearts of millions and millions of people. So, yeah, that was an incorrect statement to make.
Who do you think is the next one to carry that flag? Obviously, Ryan is fighting on September 12th, and that's historically been a huge spot, right? Mexican Independence Day weekend. Do you think, is he the guy? Because he said last week he feels like people get mad at him, they get on him, you don't speak Spanish, you're not one of our own. Like, can he truly be that guy, in your opinion?
Yeah, if he wants to. Absolutely. It's all about performance inside the ring. It's all about winning world titles. It's all about who you fight. And you obviously have to make the effort and speak the language. You have to care. So can he be the one? Absolutely. It's up to him. But I truly feel that the one is still probably about 16 to 17 years old right now.
Oh, do you know who that is? Do you have someone in mind?
I have one kid who can be the guy. His name is Dylan Capetillo, who was born in Las Vegas. Kid who's going for 3-0, 3 knockouts. He's Mexican-American, Mexican descent. The boxing world's making a big old fuss about him. So he's fighting August 1st under Golden Boy. So he could be the one. He's only 17 years old right now, fighting in Las Vegas. So, but look, it's up to the fighter individually. whether you want to be charismatic, whether you want to fight the big fights, whether you want to take on the very best. That's what people and that's what people really notice. And then it won't matter whether you're the one or not, because people judge you by who you fight and how you perform.
Oscar makes it all sound more open-ended than it actually is. That it's really if the fighter wants to make that effort, when it doesn't all boil down to the fighter. It boils down to the fans and whether or not they see something in you. And Oscar is the perfect example of what I'm talking about, because Oscar was a wildly successful and popular fighter here in the United States. But he himself said that he was never fully accepted by the Mexican nationals, by the Chicanos, yes, here in the United States, the Mexican Americans and the general Latin American community, but the Mexican nationals.
Maybe beating El Gran Campeón might have had something to do with that. Beating a Mexican national, Mexico's greatest champion, in Chavez.
Maybe that's a part of the reason he was never fully accepted, that some people viewed Oscar De La Hoya for beating Chavez the way that some people viewed Larry Holmes and Trevor Berbick for beating Ali.
There were some people who held that against them for love of Muhammad Ali, so perhaps for love of Chavez.
They held that against him. When you think about Ryan and you think about David, I think Ryan has more potential to become the face of boxing than David.
Because he's already more popular than David.
I think what holds Ryan Garcia back is consistency, general ability. He's not that good a fighter. If only he were as good a fighter as he is a popular fighter, then maybe.
Not speaking the language, that doesn't help.
And we've been all through that. What's holding back David? Well, David...
He doesn't have the opponent options. Not at cruiserweight. How many big fights are there to make up there? How many big names?
So I gotta go through this again? Every guy who went on to become the face of boxing had an abundant supply of opponents to make big fights on a consistent basis, where David, now that he's up there at cruiser...
Sugar Ray Leonard had it.
Lots of opponents.
Oscar De La Hoya had it. Floyd Mayweather had it. Canelo had it. But David, he doesn't have it. Not up there at cruiser. There's really only one big fight for him to make at cruiser.
To be the face of boxing, you need to be able to consistently fight in big fights that get everybody's attention. That's how you become the face, but he just doesn't have the opponent options in the cruiserweight division, so it's not him, and he ain't it.
When he fights Noel Mikhailian in the fall, he'll be lucky if he can break 100,000 pay-per-view buys with that fight.
To be the face, it really does take a unique set of ingredients to where it doesn't all boil down to the fighter. There's an X factor.
It's not an exact science, because if it were, then they would replicate that formula at their leisure.
And the other thing about it is that the next face of boxing may not even be a guy who's in the spotlight right now. It might not be any of these guys. It might not be Ryan, it might not be David.
Could be somebody else entirely who's still working their way up. Some young unbeaten fighter we're not focused on yet. We may be entering into a transitional period as Usyk leaves the sport and Terence follows him. Canelo's not that far behind. Inoue not that far behind.
AJ, Fury, the passing of the old guard. Now, while we wait, obviously fighters are going to keep fighting, fights are going to keep happening, and some fighters are going to be making more money than others, but that face, that superstar,
maybe it'll take a while. 2-3 years, that transitional period.
Like the period in between the time that Muhammad Ali exits the sport and Mike Tyson enters it. You could argue that Larry Holmes was the most dominant heavyweight in between there, but he was hardly the face of boxing. We could be entering a period like that.
Who knows who the next face of boxing is going to be? There's definitely going to be one. We'll just have to wait and see who it is.
What is your message to all the other title holders that are avoiding fighting you?
My message to them is keep my belts warm for right now, because I will be coming to collect them very soon.
And what would it mean for the city of Philadelphia to host one of your major title fights coming up?
You said what would it mean?
Yeah.
To host?
Yeah.
It would mean a lot. It would mean a lot. But right now I feel like we need to expand. And to go to different places and I would say maybe Atlanta next. I want to get a bigger fan base. I love Philly. I love fighting in Philly. I fought there 3 times basically, so I don't want to keep doing that in a row. I don't want to burn it out.
Boots has unification matches on the brain. Shortly after Josh Kelly's decision win over Coleman Ajarko this past weekend, Boots took to his social media and said, "Congratulations, Josh. See you soon." To which Josh responded, "Thank you, man. Let's get this fight sorted for the end of the year, God willing. All healed up. Respect."
Josh Kelly suffered a lot of bumps, cuts, and scrapes in that Coleman Ajarko fight, bleeding profusely from his nose. He looked woefully average this past weekend.
And that was with a domestic level guy in Coleman Ajarko. So how can we now trust that he's got the intestinal fortitude to fight somebody like Boots, who's even more dangerous?
Well, he's got that let's get it over with kind of attitude.
Yeah.
That's why he fought Bakram Murtazaliev. That's how he became IBF champion. In the end, he took on the Russian that nobody wanted for a year by just saying, fuck it, let's get it on. So I think he'll have that same attitude towards a Boots fight. I think he's going to do it cause he ain't got that many options for a big money fight anyway.
Boots is a guy who you could put in that conversation. Who's going to be the next face of boxing? Because he's got the ability, he's got the style, a fan-friendly style that's easy for the casuals to digest. He knocks people out, and he has a good supply of opponents. Josh Kelly, Sebastian Fundora down the line, Virgil Ortiz.
Then you got the mean in-between guys like maybe Tim Tszyu, Jesus Ramos.
Guys that he might bump into in between the big fights, and guys that he might bump into when he moves up in weight. Ammo Williams, Amari Jones.
Right.
So he's got ability, he's got a good style for the job, he's got a good supply of opponents. He's not that charismatic. I do feel like Boots is lacking in the personality department, but that's negligible.
They keep him fighting on a regular basis, and he keeps knocking people out, delivering fan-friendly performances like he just did with Xander. He could become the face of boxing or something close to it. I think he knocks out Josh Kelly. I used to think that because Josh is an outboxer who stays on his toes, he might be able to last a little longer than Xander Zayas did. Xander made the mistake of trading punches in the pocket with Boots.
Josh Kelly wouldn't make that mistake. He wouldn't do that, but based on what I saw this weekend, and how much he got touched up by Coleman Ajarko, I definitely think Boots touches him up to where
He might stop him in under 6.
Josh Kelly's got the right style for the job, but how good is he with that style? How effective and how durable is he for what punches get in? Because punches are going to. Things are now moving a lot faster for Boots at junior middle on the unification front than they were at welter. It took him forever to get his hands on 2 alphabet titles there, whereas now he's already got 2, just 2 fights into this campaign en route to 3.
3rd fight at the weight.
Things are picking up nicely, progressing nicely for Jaron Ennis. I look forward to his next fight sometime in November or December, and I like him to win.